Perturbed in the annals of history, stretching back through millennia of human civilization, the concept of leadership has taken many forms. From tribal chieftains guiding their people through harsh landscapes, to emperors commanding vast armies and sprawling empires, the way societies have organized themselves and chosen their leaders has been a constant source of evolution and adaptation. Understanding the historical context of leadership is crucial to appreciating the radical departure represented by the American presidency. For a significant portion of recorded history, leadership often wore a crown. The crown, a symbol of power, authority, and divine right, represented a system where leadership was often seen as ordained, unquestionable, and absolute. It was a birthright, a privilege bestowed upon individuals not through merit or popular consent, but by the circumstances of their lineage. The assumption was that royal blood carried with it an inherent capacity to rule, a notion that shaped political landscapes for centuries. This power was passed down through bloodlines, carefully maintained and fiercely protected. Royal families meticulously documented their ancestry, tracing their lineage back to mythical figures or divine origins, reinforcing their claim to the throne and solidifying their authority. It was a divine appointment sanctioned by tradition and ancient law, a belief system that intertwined religious authority with political power. Kings were often seen as God's representatives on earth, their rule justified by divine mandate, making any challenge to their authority a challenge to the divine order itself. This concept, known as the divine right of kings, provided a powerful ideological foundation for monarchical rule. Kings and emperors ruled vast domains, their power extending across continents and oceans. They commanded armies, controlled resources, and dictated the lives of millions of subjects. Their palaces were symbols of their wealth and power, centers of political intrigue and lavish displays of opulence. Their authority was absolute, their word final. Royal decrees carried the force of law, and dissent was often met with swift and brutal repression. The concept of checks and balances, so central to the American system, was largely absent in these absolute monarchies. They were the state, the embodiment of national identity and power. Their personal interests were often indistinguishable from the interests of the nation, blurring the lines between public service and private gain. And the state was them, an extension of their personal will and ambition. National resources were often treated as personal property, and the welfare of the people was often secondary to the aggrandizement of the ruling dynasty. Their power was a legacy inherited, a birthright passed down through generations, regardless of individual competence or suitability for leadership. The assumption was that royal blood conferred an inherent right to rule, an idea that often led to incompetent or tyrannical rulers inheriting positions of immense power, not a trust earned through service, dedication, or the consent of the governed. The concept of accountability to the people was largely absent, as monarchs were seen as answerable only to God or to their own conscience. The people they governed were subjects, not citizens, bound by obligations of fealty and subservience to their ruler. They had little or no say in the decisions that affected their lives, and their rights were often subject to the whims of the monarch. Their lives and fortunes were bound to the whims of a monarch they did not choose, a system that often led to widespread inequality, oppression, and resentment. The concept of individual liberty, so central to the American ideal, was largely absent in these societies. This was the world as it had always been, or at least as it had been for the vast majority of recorded history. From the ancient empires of Egypt and Mesopotamia to the medieval kingdoms of Europe and the dynasties of Asia, monarchy was the dominant form of government. A tapestry of dynasties and empires, woven with threads of conquest and fealty, where power was concentrated in the hands of a single individual or a small ruling elite. This system, while providing stability and order in some cases, often came at the cost of individual liberty and popular sovereignty. The very idea of a nation choosing its leader, of entrusting the fate of a country to the collective wisdom of its citizens, was a radical, almost unthinkable proposition. It was a concept that challenged the very foundations of the established order, a direct assault on the legitimacy of monarchy and hereditary rule. It challenged the established order of things, the deeply ingrained belief that power was the exclusive domain of the privileged few. It questioned the assumption that ordinary people were incapable of self-governance, a notion that had been used to justify authoritarian rule for centuries. A system that had endured for millennia across continents and cultures, shaping the political landscape of the world and defining the relationship between rulers and the ruled. To challenge this system was to challenge the very fabric of society. But in the late 18th century, a period of intellectual ferment and revolutionary upheaval, a bold new idea took root, nurtured by the Enlightenment ideals of liberty, equality, and self-government. This idea, the concept of popular sovereignty, challenged the traditional notion of divinely ordained rule and asserted the right of the people to govern themselves. On the shores of a newly forged nation, a land of immigrants and revolutionaries, eager to break free from the constraints of the old world, this new nation, forged in the crucible of revolution, was determined to create a government based on the principles of liberty and self-government. The United States of America, a name that resonated with hope and promise for those seeking a better future, born from revolution and a fierce desire for self-determination, a struggle against tyranny and oppression that had inspired people around the world, sought a different path, a path that would lead to a more just and equitable society, where the rights of the individual were protected and the power of government was limited. They had thrown off the yoke of a distant king, rejecting the authority of a monarch who they believed had violated their rights and freedoms, and were deeply suspicious of concentrated power, wary of creating a new form of tyranny in the place of the old. They understood that power, even when wielded with good intentions, could be easily abused. They envisioned a leader who would serve the people, a public servant dedicated to the common good, not rule over them with an iron fist, but rather guide and protect them with wisdom and compassion. They sought a leader who would be accountable to the people, not above them. This figure would not inherit their position through accident of birth, through the arbitrary circumstances of lineage or social status, but would be selected by the citizenry they were to govern, chosen through a process of free and fair elections, where every voice could be heard and every vote could count. This was a profound departure from the old ways, a radical shift in the way societies organized themselves and chose their leaders. A deliberate and conscious rejection of the monarchical systems that dominated the globe, a bold experiment in self-government that would inspire revolutions and reforms around the world. It was an experiment, a leap of faith in the capacity of ordinary people to govern themselves wisely and justly, a gamble on the wisdom of the common person, on the belief that the collective intelligence of the citizenry was superior to the wisdom of any single ruler. To select their own head of state, to entrust the fate of the nation to a leader chosen by the people, for the people. The architects of this new republic, the founding fathers, men of vision and courage who dared to challenge the established order, grappled with a monumental task, the challenge of creating a government that was both strong enough to lead and limited enough to prevent tyranny. They had to create an executive office, a position of leadership that would be responsible for implementing the laws and policies of the new nation. Strong enough to lead a fledgling nation through perilous times, to navigate the challenges of foreign relations, economic instability, and internal divisions. Yet constrained enough to prevent the rise of a new tyrant, to ensure that no single individual could accumulate too much power and abuse their authority. They debated fiercely, their voices echoing with passion and conviction as they wrestled with the fundamental questions of governance. Their words echoing in the halls of Philadelphia, where the fate of the nation hung in the balance. How much power was too much? How could they create an executive that was both effective and accountable? How could they ensure accountability, preventing the abuse of power and protecting the rights of the citizenry? They looked to history, to the lessons of the past, seeking guidance from the successes and failures of previous republics and democracies, to the republics of ancient Rome and Greece for guidance, for insights into the challenges of self-government and the dangers of unchecked power. but they were charting largely unknown territory, venturing into uncharted waters with no guarantee of success. The result was a unique creation, a hybrid system that blended elements of monarchy, aristocracy, and democracy. An office designed with a delicate balance of authority and limitation, a system of checks and balances that would prevent any one branch of government from becoming too powerful. It was a role defined not by divine right, not by the arbitrary circumstances of birth or social status, but by a written constitution, a document that enshrined the principles of liberty, equality, and self-government. A document that would serve as its ultimate master, a set of fundamental laws that would bind all citizens, including the president. This new leader would be called President, a title that reflected the office's unique character and purpose. The title itself was unassuming, a deliberate choice to avoid the trappings of royalty and the connotations of absolute power. Chosen deliberately to avoid the grandiosity of royal nomenclature, to emphasize the idea that this leader was a servant of the people, not their master. The president would be a citizen first and foremost, a member of the community they were chosen to lead. Temporarily entrusted with immense responsibility, with the power to shape the destiny of the nation. They would be the head of the executive branch, responsible for implementing and enforcing the laws passed by Congress. Tasked with enforcing the laws of the land, ensuring that justice was served and that the rights of all citizens were protected. They would also be the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, responsible for defending the nation against its enemies. A civilian in charge of the military, a principle that underscored the importance of civilian control over the armed forces in a democratic society. After a set term, a limited period of service designed to prevent the accumulation of excessive power, they would return to private life, stepping down from their position of power and returning to the ranks of ordinary citizens. Their power relinquished, their authority transferred peacefully to their successor in accordance with the Constitution. This cycle of service and succession was revolutionary, a radical departure from the traditional patterns of power and authority. It laid the foundation for an office that would evolve and adapt over time, shaped by the challenges and opportunities of each new era, that would evolve in ways its creators could never have imagined, growing in power and influence as the nation itself grew and prospered, becoming one of the most powerful and influential positions on earth, a symbol of American leadership and a force for change in the world. The office of the President of the United States, the very name evokes images of power, responsibility, and the weight of history. From its inception, it was more than just a position. It was a grand and uncertain experiment, a bold venture into uncharted political territory. The world watched with bated breath, wondering if this new form of governance could truly succeed. Could a nation truly be led by someone chosen by the people, rather than inheriting power through bloodlines or seizing it through force? It stood in stark contrast to the monarchies of Europe, the ancient dynasties that had shaped the continent's destiny for centuries. These were systems built on tradition, on divine right, on the unquestioned authority of kings and queens. The American experiment was a direct challenge to this established order, a rejection of the idea that power should be concentrated in the hands of a single, unelected ruler, and the autocracies that had governed humanity for most of its existence. For millennia, societies had been ruled by strongmen, by emperors, by dictators who held absolute sway over their subjects. The concept of a leader accountable to the people, bound by laws and subject to regular elections, was a radical departure from this historical norm. It was a gamble, a leap of faith in the capacity of ordinary citizens to govern themselves. There was no precedent for a single executive elected by the people, a leader chosen not by birth or conquest, but by the consent of the governed. This was a revolutionary idea, one that challenged the very foundations of political power. The world had seen kings and emperors, but never before had it witnessed a leader who derived his authority directly from the citizens he served, who would wield significant power yet remain accountable to them. The president was to be a powerful figure, capable of leading the nation in times of crisis and representing its interests on the world stage. But this power was not to be absolute. It was to be checked and balanced, limited by the Constitution and subject to the will of the people. The president was to be a servant of the public, not its master. The founders were acutely aware of the risks. They were not naive idealists, blindly optimistic about the prospects of democracy. They had studied history, and they knew that power could corrupt even the most well-intentioned individuals. They understood that the temptation to abuse authority was a constant threat, and they were determined to create a system that would guard against it. They knew that power, once granted, is seldom easily contained. History is replete with examples of leaders who started with noble intentions but gradually succumbed to the allure of absolute power. The founders were determined to avoid this trap, to create a system that would prevent any single individual or group from accumulating too much authority. The shadow of King George III loomed large in their minds, the memory of British tyranny fresh in their hearts. They had fought a revolution to escape the arbitrary rule of a distant monarch, and they were determined not to create a similar system in their own country. The experience of colonial oppression had instilled in them a deep distrust of unchecked authority, a constant reminder of the dangers of unchecked authority. The king's actions, his disregard for the rights of the colonists, his imposition of taxes without representation, had fueled the flames of rebellion. The founders were determined to create a government that would be accountable to the people, that would respect their rights, and that would never again subject them to the arbitrary rule of a single individual. Every clause they wrote, every power they debated, was carefully considered in light of this historical experience. They pored over ancient texts, studied the rise and fall of republics, and debated the merits of various forms of government. They were determined to learn from the mistakes of the past, and to create a system that would be both strong and just, was weighed against the fear of creating the very thing they had fought a war to escape. The revolution had been a costly and bloody affair, and the founders were determined to ensure that it had not been fought in vain. They were committed to creating a government that would be fundamentally different from the one they had overthrown, a government that would be based on the principles of liberty, equality, and self-government. This new presidency was a hybrid, a unique creation that drew inspiration from various sources but ultimately forged its own path. It was not a monarchy, nor was it a pure democracy. It was something entirely new, a system designed to balance the need for strong leadership with the protection of individual liberties, a careful blend of strength and restraint. The president was to be a powerful figure, but his power was to be limited by the Constitution and checked by the other branches of government. This delicate balance was the key to the success of the American experiment. The president was given the authority to command the military, to defend the nation against its enemies, and to protect its interests abroad. This was a crucial power, essential for ensuring the security of the new republic. But it was also a power that could be easily abused, and the founders were careful to place it under civilian control. To negotiate with foreign nations, to represent the United States on the world stage, and to forge alliances with other countries. This was another vital power, necessary for promoting American trade and ensuring its diplomatic influence. But it was also a power that required skill, judgment, and a deep understanding of international affairs. And to oversee the vast machinery of government, to ensure that the laws were faithfully executed and that the nation's business was conducted efficiently. This was a daunting task, requiring administrative skills, organizational ability, and a commitment to public service. The president was to be the chief executive officer of the United States, responsible for managing the day-to-day operations of the federal government. These were powers akin to those held by kings. The president, like a monarch, could command armies, negotiate treaties, and oversee the government. The similarities were undeniable, and they raised concerns among those who feared a return to tyranny. Yet an intricate system of checks and balances was woven into the fabric of the Constitution to tether this power. The founders recognized the potential for abuse and deliberately created a system that would prevent the president from becoming too powerful. This system was designed to ensure that no single branch of government could dominate the others. The Congress, the voice of the people, elected by citizens from every corner of the nation, was designed to be a powerful check on presidential authority. It was the embodiment of popular sovereignty. The idea that ultimate power resides in the people held the power of the purse and the sole authority to declare war. Without congressional approval, the president could not spend money or commit the nation to armed conflict. These were formidable powers designed to ensure that the president remained accountable to the people and their elected representatives. The judiciary, an independent branch, insulated from political pressure and appointed for life, could review the president's actions. The Supreme Court, as the ultimate arbiter of the Constitution, had the power to declare presidential actions unconstitutional, thus ensuring that the president remained within the bounds of the law. This separation of powers was the bedrock of the American system, a fundamental principle designed to prevent tyranny and protect individual liberties. By dividing power among three distinct branches of government, the founders sought to ensure that no single entity could become too dominant, designed to foster a healthy tension between the branches of government, preventing anyone from becoming too dominant. This tension, while sometimes frustrating, was seen as a necessary safeguard against the abuse of power. The constant push and pull between the branches was intended to ensure that all decisions were carefully considered and that no single branch could act unilaterally. The first man to hold this office, George Washington, the hero of the Revolution and the father of his country, understood the immense responsibility that had been placed upon him. He knew that the success or failure of the American experiment rested largely on his shoulders. Understood the precarious nature of this experiment better than anyone. He recognized that the presidency was a blank slate and that his actions would shape the office for generations to come. He approached his duties with humility, wisdom, and a deep sense of public service. He was acutely conscious that his every action, every decision, every word would be scrutinized and analyzed, not only by his contemporaries but also by future historians. He understood that he was setting precedents that would define the presidency for centuries to come, would set a precedent for generations to come. He knew that his choices would have a profound impact on the future of the nation, and he was determined to act in a way that would uphold the principles of the Constitution and promote the common good. He could have been a king. Indeed, many wished him to be. After leading the Continental Army to victory, there was considerable sentiment for establishing a monarchy with Washington at its head. Some believed that only a strong, centralized authority could hold the new nation together, but he steadfastly refused, embracing the role of a servant leader. He believed that the American Revolution had been fought to establish a republic, not to replace one form of tyranny with another. He was committed to the principles of self-government and popular sovereignty. He established traditions of modesty and deference to the constitutional order, setting a standard of conduct for future presidents to follow. He understood that the presidency was not about personal glory or aggrandizement, but about serving the nation and upholding the Constitution, shaping the presidency into an office of public trust. He recognized that the president was not above the law, but subject to it, just like any other citizen. He believed that the president should always act in the best interests of the nation, even when it was unpopular or politically difficult. His decision to step down after 2 terms was perhaps his most profound contribution, setting a precedent that would be followed by every president for the next 150 years. He believed that serving more than 2 terms would be a dangerous step towards monarchy, and he was determined to avoid that outcome, cementing the principle that power in a republic is temporary and must be peacefully transferred. This peaceful transfer of power from one elected leader to another is a hallmark of American democracy and a testament to the wisdom of the founders. This act alone distinguished the American presidency from any other form of leadership in the world at that time. In an era of kings and emperors, Washington's voluntary relinquishment of power was a revolutionary act, demonstrating his commitment to the principles of republicanism. Over the centuries, this uniquely American office has evolved dramatically, adapting to the changing needs and challenges of the nation. From the small agrarian republic of the 18th century to the global superpower of the 21st, the presidency has been transformed by the individuals who have held it and the events that have shaped their presidencies. It has been tested by civil war, the gravest crisis in American history, when the nation was torn apart by the issue of slavery. Abraham Lincoln's leadership during this tumultuous period preserved the Union and ultimately led to the abolition of slavery, forever changing the course of American history. Economic depression, the Great Depression of the 1930s, which brought widespread poverty and unemployment to the nation. Franklin Delano Roosevelt's New Deal programs expanded the role of the federal government and provided a safety net for millions of Americans, and global conflict. World War II, a global struggle against fascism, tested the nation's resolve and required unprecedented levels of presidential leadership. Franklin Delano Roosevelt led the nation through this crisis, forging alliances and mobilizing the country's resources to defeat the Axis powers. Its powers have expanded, sometimes controversially, to meet the demands of a changing world. The rise of the administrative state, the growth of the military-industrial complex, and the increasing complexity of international relations have all contributed to the expansion of presidential power. The president has grown from the leader of a small agrarian republic with limited power and influence to a figure of immense global significance. In the early days of the republic, the president's role was primarily focused on domestic affairs, with limited involvement in international relations, into the most influential figure on the global stage. Today, the president is the leader of the world's largest economy and its most powerful military, with the ability to shape global events and influence the lives of billions of people. Yet the fundamental experiment continues, the ongoing effort to balance power and liberty, to ensure that the government remains accountable to the people. The American experiment is not a static entity, but a dynamic process of adaptation and refinement. The core tension between the need for a strong executive and the fear of tyranny remains at the heart of the American political discourse, a constant debate that shapes the way we understand the presidency and its role in our society. This tension is a healthy one, forcing us to constantly re-evaluate the balance between power and liberty. The office is a living institution, constantly evolving and adapting to the changing needs of the nation and the world. It is a testament to the enduring power of the Constitution and the resilience of the American democratic system, constantly being redefined by the individuals who hold it, each president leaving their own unique mark on the office and shaping its future direction. From Washington to Biden, each president has brought their own experiences, values, and priorities to the office, leaving a lasting legacy on the nation. And the challenges they face, the crises they confront, and the decisions they make, all of which contribute to the ongoing evolution of the American presidency. The challenges facing the president are constantly evolving, from economic recessions to global pandemics to international conflicts. A testament to the enduring, if imperfect, vision of its creators. The American presidency remains a work in progress, a constant experiment in self-government, a reflection of the enduring tension between power and liberty that lies at the heart of the American political tradition. It is a legacy we continue to build upon, striving to create a more perfect union. The presidency is more than just a person. It is an institution embodied by powerful symbols. These symbols, carefully chosen and meticulously maintained, serve as constant reminders of the office's authority, its history, and its connection to the American people. They are visual representations of the values and principles that the nation holds dear, and they play a crucial role in shaping public perception of the presidency, both at home and abroad. From the iconic presidential seal, emblazoned on official documents and displayed at formal events, to the flag of the United States, which often serves as a backdrop for presidential addresses, these symbols are imbued with meaning and significance. They evoke a sense of tradition, continuity, and national pride, reinforcing the idea that the presidency is an office that transcends any individual. The power of these symbols lies in their ability to communicate complex ideas and emotions in a simple yet profound way. They speak to the collective identity of the American people, reminding them of their shared history, their common values, and their aspirations for the future. Chief among these is the official residence at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, the White House. More than just an address, it's a physical embodiment of the executive branch, a place etched in the collective memory of the nation. Its very presence on Pennsylvania Avenue speaks to the heart of American governance. The White House is not just a building, it's a landmark, a monument, and a living testament to the history of the United States. Its walls have witnessed countless pivotal moments, from presidential inaugurations to historic policy decisions. The White House stands as a silent observer, a repository of memories, and a symbol of the enduring strength of the American Republic. It is not merely a home for the president's family or a workplace for their staff. It's a carefully curated space where personal life intersects with the weight of national responsibility. The First Family's presence within its walls humanizes the office of the presidency, reminding the nation that even the most powerful leader is, at the end of the day, a person with a family and a life beyond politics. The dedicated staff who work tirelessly within the White House contribute to the smooth functioning of the executive branch, providing support and expertise to the president and his administration. From the chefs who prepare meals for state dinners to the security personnel who protect the president's safety, each member of the White House staff plays a vital role in upholding the dignity and efficiency of the office. It is the People's House, a living museum of American history and a potent symbol of democracy itself. Open to visitors from across the globe, it serves as a tangible link between the government and the governed. The tours offered to the public provide a glimpse into the history and grandeur of the White House, allowing citizens to connect with their nation's heritage. As visitors walk through its hallowed halls, they are reminded of the principles upon which the United States was founded: liberty, equality, and justice for all. The White House stands as a testament to the enduring power of democracy, a reminder that the government is ultimately accountable to the people it serves. Its construction began under the watchful eye of George Washington, though he would be the only president never to reside within its walls. Washington's vision for the presidency was one of strength, integrity, and service to the nation. He understood the importance of creating a physical space that would embody these values, a place where the business of government could be conducted with dignity and purpose. Although he never lived to see the White House completed, his influence on its design and construction is undeniable. The White House stands as a lasting tribute to Washington's leadership and his commitment to building a strong and enduring republic. The very cornerstone laid during his presidency symbolizes the foundation of American democracy. From John Adams onward, it has been the nerve center of the executive branch, the hub of activity where policies are formulated, decisions are made, and the course of the nation is charted. Adams, the first president to reside in the White House, understood the significance of establishing a strong executive branch. He saw the White House as a symbol of American independence and a place where the president could effectively lead the nation. From its earliest days, the White House has been a place of intense activity, a constant hive of meetings, discussions, and debates. It is where the president and his advisors grapple with the complex challenges facing the nation and work to develop solutions that will benefit all Americans, the place where decisions that shape the nation and the world are made. From matters of national security to economic policy, the White House is at the epicenter of global affairs. The weight of these decisions is palpable within its walls, a constant reminder of the responsibility that comes with holding the highest office in the land. The White House has been the site of countless historic moments, from treaty signings to declarations of war. It is where presidents have met with world leaders to forge alliances, resolve conflicts, and promote peace. The decisions made within the White House have had a profound impact on the course of history, shaping the lives of billions of people around the world. Its gleaming white facade represents the ideals of the Republic: purity, transparency, and a commitment to the common good are all embodied in its stark yet elegant design. The choice of white was deliberate, intended to convey a sense of openness and accessibility, a departure from the ornate palaces of European monarchs. The neoclassical architecture, inspired by the ancient republics of Greece and Rome, further reinforces the White House's connection to the ideals of democracy and civic virtue. The columns, pediments, and symmetrical design evoke a sense of order, balance, and reason, reflecting the principles upon which the American government was founded. Every room in the White House tells a story. Each chamber holds echoes of the past, whispering tales of presidents, policies, and pivotal moments in American history. From the grand state dining room, where presidents have hosted lavish banquets for visiting dignitaries, to the more intimate family quarters, where presidents have sought solace and privacy, each room reflects a different aspect of the White House's multifaceted identity. The artwork, furniture, and decor within each room have been carefully selected to reflect the tastes and values of the presidents who have occupied the White House, creating a rich tapestry of history and culture. The Oval Office, with its resolute desk, is the epicenter of American power, the symbolic heart of the executive branch. It is here that the president conducts the business of the nation, meeting with advisors, signing legislation, and addressing the American people. The resolute desk, a gift from Queen Victoria, has been used by many presidents, each leaving their own mark on its history. The Oval Office is a carefully designed space intended to project an image of strength, authority, and competence. The oval shape is said to promote collaboration and communication, while the large windows offer a panoramic view of the White House grounds, reminding the president of the vastness of the nation he serves. The stage for televised addresses and critical meetings with world leaders. From the Oval Office, presidents have addressed the nation in times of crisis, announcing major policy initiatives and offering words of comfort and hope. It is a place where history is made, where decisions are taken that affect the lives of millions of people around the world. The Oval Office has also been the site of countless meetings with world leaders, where presidents have worked to build alliances, resolve conflicts, and promote peace. These meetings are often highly symbolic, representing the importance of diplomacy and international cooperation in addressing global challenges. The Lincoln bedroom, though never used by Lincoln as a bedroom, serves as a powerful reminder of his presidency and the ideals he championed. Serves as a poignant reminder of the nation's most trying hour and the leader who guided it through the crucible of civil war. The room is furnished with artifacts from Lincoln's life and presidency, including a large four-poster bed that was reportedly purchased by Mary Todd Lincoln. The Lincoln bedroom is a place of quiet reflection, where visitors can contemplate the sacrifices made to preserve the Union and the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln. It stands as a testament to the power of leadership, the importance of courage, and the enduring strength of the American spirit. The very air in the room seems to hum with the weight of history, a constant reminder of the challenges faced by Lincoln and the nation during the Civil War. The East Room has witnessed grand celebrations, solemn press conferences, and the heart-wrenching spectacle of presidents lying in state. It is the largest room in the White House, a versatile space that has been used for a wide variety of events throughout its history. From weddings and state dinners to funerals and press conferences, the East Room has been the backdrop for some of the most significant moments in American history. The room is decorated in a neoclassical style, with ornate chandeliers, gilded mirrors, and portraits of George Washington and other prominent figures. The East Room is a place of both joy and sorrow, a reminder of the human drama that unfolds within the walls of the White House. The building has survived being burned by foreign invaders during the War of 1812, a stark reminder of the vulnerability of the nation and the importance of defending its ideals, and has undergone numerous renovations, each layer adding to its rich and complex history. These renovations reflect not only the changing tastes and needs of the presidents who have occupied the White House, but also the evolving character of the nation itself. From the addition of running water and electricity to the construction of the West Wing and the Oval Office, each renovation has left its mark on the White House, contributing to its unique and enduring appeal. The White House is a living building, constantly adapting to the needs of the present while preserving the legacy of the past. It stands as a testament to the nation's resilience, a symbol of its ability to overcome adversity and emerge stronger than before. The symbolism extends beyond the building's walls. It permeates every aspect of the presidency, from the language used in official pronouncements to the rituals and ceremonies that accompany the office. The very name, the White House, has become synonymous with the presidency and its administration. It's a shorthand, a metonym that instantly evokes images of power, authority, and the weight of national responsibility. When the news reports that the White House announced today, it is understood that this refers to an official statement from the highest level of the United States government. It carries an implicit weight, a sense of authority that stems from the office itself. The phrase, "the White House," is often used to represent the collective voice of the executive branch, signaling a unified message and a clear direction for the nation. The building is a backdrop for some of the most iconic moments in American history, a silent witness to the triumphs and tragedies that have shaped the nation, from the annual Easter egg roll on its lawn to the lighting of the national Christmas tree. These events, seemingly simple and light-hearted, serve as important reminders of the human side of the presidency and the connection between the government and the people. They are opportunities for families to come together, celebrate traditions, and experience the magic of the White House firsthand. The Easter egg roll in particular has become a beloved tradition, dating back to the 19th century, and is a symbol of springtime, renewal, and the joy of childhood. The lighting of the national Christmas tree is another cherished event, marking the beginning of the holiday season and bringing a sense of warmth and cheer to the nation's capital. It is a destination for tourists from around the world, drawn to its history, its grandeur, and its symbolic significance, who gaze through its iron gates, hoping to catch a glimpse of the history unfolding within. They stand in awe, imagining the presidents who have walked its halls, the decisions that have been made within its walls, and the impact that the White House has had on the world. The iron gates, while serving as a security barrier, also offer a tantalizing glimpse into the world of power and influence that lies beyond. For many visitors, a trip to the White House is a pilgrimage, a chance to connect with their nation's history and to witness firsthand the symbols of American democracy. It is both a fortress of power and an accessible symbol of the government's relationship with its people. The high walls and security measures are a necessary precaution in a world of potential threats, but the White House also strives to maintain a sense of openness and accessibility. The tours offered to the public, the events held on its lawn, and the efforts to engage with citizens online all demonstrate a commitment to transparency and accountability. The White House is a place where the government and the people can connect, where ideas can be exchanged, and where the principles of democracy can be upheld. The White House is therefore a physical manifestation of the presidency's dual nature, embodying both the power and the humanity of the office. It is a home, a place of family and personal moments, reminding us that the office is held by a human being. The laughter of children, the quiet dinners shared with loved ones, and the moments of reflection and solitude all contribute to the White House's identity as a place where life unfolds, even amidst the pressures of the presidency. These personal moments humanize the office, reminding us that the president is not just a political figure, but a person with emotions, relationships, and a life beyond the public eye. But it is also a grand public monument, a stage where the theatre of American democracy plays out for all to see. The inaugurations, state dinners, and press conferences that take place within its walls are all carefully choreographed events designed to project an image of strength, stability, and national unity. The White House is a place where history is made, where policies are debated, and where the future of the nation is shaped. It is a symbol of American democracy, a reminder of the principles upon which the nation was founded, and a testament to the enduring power of the American spirit. It projects an image of stability, continuity, and an enduring strength that transcends the political fortunes of any single occupant. Regardless of who holds the office of president, the White House remains a constant, a symbol of the enduring strength and resilience of the American Republic. The man or woman may change every 4 or 8 years, but the White House remains a silent witness to the ebb and flow of American politics. A constant and powerful symbol of the American Republic and the ideals it strives to represent on the world stage. It stands as a beacon of hope, a testament to the enduring power of democracy, and a reminder that the pursuit of a more perfect union is a never-ending journey. The White House is more than just a building. It is a symbol of the American dream, a place where anything is possible, and a reminder that the future of the nation is in the hands of its people. The President of the United States. The very title evokes images of power, responsibility, and the weight of a nation's expectations. It's a position unlike any other in the world, demanding a unique blend of leadership skills, political acumen, and the ability to connect with the American people on a deeply personal level. Holds a unique and demanding dual role, a complex interplay of responsibilities that sets it apart from many other heads of state around the globe. This duality is at the very heart of the American presidency, shaping its character and influencing its impact on both domestic and foreign affairs. It requires the individual holding the office to constantly navigate between representing the nation's highest ideals and engaging in the often gritty realities of political leadership. A responsibility shared by few other world leaders. The American president is not simply a figurehead or a symbolic representative. They are also the chief executive, responsible for the day-to-day operations of the government and the implementation of national policy. This combination of roles creates a unique set of challenges and opportunities, requiring the president to be both a statesman and a politician, a unifier and a negotiator. They are simultaneously the head of state, the embodiment of the nation's identity, history, and values. In this role, the president represents the United States on the world stage, engaging in diplomacy, building alliances, and promoting American interests. They are the face of the nation, the symbol of its aspirations, and the guardian of its traditions, and the head of government. As head of government, the president is responsible for the practical aspects of running the country. This includes managing the economy, overseeing the federal bureaucracy, and implementing the laws passed by Congress. It's a demanding and often thankless job, requiring the president to make difficult decisions, navigate complex political landscapes, and balance competing interests. In many countries, these duties are divided, carefully separated to ensure a balance of power and to prevent any one individual from accumulating too much authority. This separation often reflects different historical and cultural traditions, as well as different approaches to governance. A monarch or a ceremonial president serves as the head of state, often inheriting the position or being chosen through a process that emphasizes tradition and national unity over political affiliation. These figures often embody the history and culture of their nation, serving as a symbol of continuity and stability, embodying the nation's unity and tradition, representing the collective identity and shared values of the people. They often preside over national ceremonies, welcome foreign dignitaries, and serve as a source of inspiration and pride for their country. While a prime minister acts as the head of government, typically chosen from the majority party in the legislature. The Prime Minister is responsible for the day-to-day running of the government, formulating policy and managing the economy. Managing the day-to-day political and administrative affairs, navigating the complexities of parliamentary politics, and building consensus among different factions. They are accountable to the legislature and can be removed from office through a vote of no confidence. In the American system, however, the framers of the Constitution made a deliberate choice to combine these two roles into a single office, believing that it would create a stronger and more effective executive branch. This decision was influenced by their experiences with the Articles of Confederation, which had created a weak central government with no single executive leader. These two immense burdens are placed upon the shoulders of one individual, demanding a unique combination of skills, experience, and personal qualities. The president must be able to inspire and unite the nation, while also making tough decisions and navigating the complexities of political life. This concentration of roles gives the presidency its distinctive character, setting it apart from other forms of executive leadership around the world. It creates a powerful and dynamic office, capable of both inspiring great hope and arousing intense controversy, and contributes significantly to its power and prestige both domestically and internationally. The president is not only the leader of the United States, but also a major player on the world stage, influencing global events and shaping international relations. As the head of state, the president embodies the spirit and ideals of the nation, representing the United States to the world and serving as a symbol of its values and aspirations. This role requires the president to be a unifying figure, capable of transcending partisan divisions and appealing to the common interests of all Americans. The president is the living symbol of the United States, a tangible representation of the nation's history, culture, and aspirations. They are the face of America, the embodiment of its ideals, and the voice of its people. In this capacity, they perform the ceremonial duties that are essential to maintaining national traditions and fostering a sense of unity and continuity. These duties may seem symbolic, but they play a vital role in reinforcing national identity and promoting civic pride that represent the nation's dignity and continuity, connecting the present to the past and providing a sense of stability and permanence in a rapidly changing world. These ceremonies serve as reminders of the values and principles that unite Americans regardless of their backgrounds or beliefs. This includes welcoming foreign dignitaries, extending the hand of friendship and cooperation to leaders from around the world. These meetings are not just symbolic, they are opportunities to build relationships, negotiate agreements, and advance American interests on the global stage. Honoring national heroes, recognizing the extraordinary achievements and sacrifices of those who have served the country with distinction. These ceremonies are a way of expressing gratitude and appreciation for the contributions of individuals who have gone above and beyond the call of duty. Lighting the national Christmas tree, a beloved tradition that marks the beginning of the holiday season and brings joy to millions of Americans. This simple act symbolizes the spirit of hope, peace, and goodwill that is at the heart of the Christmas message, and consoling the nation in times of tragedy, offering words of comfort, strength, and resilience in the face of loss and adversity. These moments of national mourning require the president to be a source of empathy and compassion, reminding Americans that they are not alone in their grief. When the president speaks after a natural disaster or a national crisis, their words carry immense weight, shaping public opinion and influencing the national mood. The ability to communicate effectively in times of crisis is a crucial skill for any president. They are not just speaking as a political leader, advancing a particular agenda or appealing to a specific constituency. They are speaking as the leader of the entire nation, representing the interests and values of all Americans, but as the voice of the entire country, articulating the hopes, fears, and aspirations of the American people. This requires the president to be a skilled communicator, capable of connecting with people from all walks of life and speaking to their shared sense of national identity, offering comfort and resolve, reassuring the nation that it will overcome its challenges and emerge stronger than before. This ability to inspire confidence and hope is essential for maintaining national unity and morale in times of crisis. This role requires the president to rise above partisan politics, to put the interests of the nation ahead of the narrow concerns of any particular party or faction. It demands a willingness to compromise, to find common ground, and to work with people who hold different views, and embody the unity of the American people, serving as a symbol of their shared identity and common purpose. This requires the president to be a unifying figure, capable of bringing together people from different backgrounds, beliefs and perspectives, serving as a focal point for national identity and pride, both at home and abroad, representing the best of American values and aspirations to the world. The president is a symbol of American exceptionalism, a beacon of hope and freedom for people around the globe. Simultaneously, the president serves as the head of government, the chief executive responsible for the day-to-day operations of the federal government. This is a demanding and complex role, requiring the president to manage a vast bureaucracy, implement national policies, and respond to a wide range of challenges, both domestic and international. The chief executive of the federal bureaucracy, overseeing the vast machinery of government and ensuring that it operates efficiently and effectively. This requires the president to be a skilled manager, capable of delegating authority, coordinating different agencies, and holding people accountable for their performance. This is the political and often controversial side of the job, where the president must navigate the complex and often treacherous waters of partisan politics. This requires the president to be a skilled negotiator, a shrewd strategist, and a tough competitor. In this role, the president is responsible for implementing and enforcing the laws passed by Congress, ensuring that they are carried out fairly and effectively across the country. This requires the president to work closely with the various agencies of the executive branch, providing guidance and direction to ensure that the laws are implemented as intended. They direct the vast executive branch, a sprawling network of agencies, departments and offices that carry out the day-to-day work of the federal government. This requires the president to be a skilled manager, capable of overseeing a complex organization and ensuring that it operates efficiently and effectively, which includes 15 cabinet departments and millions of federal employees, each with their own responsibilities and priorities. Managing this vast workforce requires the president to be a strong leader, capable of inspiring and motivating people to work together towards common goals. They set the national policy agenda, determining the priorities and goals of the administration and working to translate them into concrete action. This requires the president to have a clear vision for the country and the ability to articulate that vision in a way that resonates with the American people. Propose the annual budget, a crucial document that outlines the administration's spending priorities and provides a roadmap for the nation's economic future. This requires the president to make difficult choices about how to allocate scarce resources, balancing competing demands and priorities, and make thousands of appointments to positions of power, filling key roles in the executive branch and shaping the direction of government policy. These appointments are often highly political, reflecting the president's priorities and values. This is the president as a political operator, a skilled strategist who understands the levers of power and knows how to use them to achieve their goals. This requires the president to be a shrewd negotiator, a savvy communicator, and a relentless campaigner. A party leader who must negotiate, persuade, and compromise to achieve their legislative goals, working with members of Congress from both parties to build consensus and pass legislation. This requires the president to be a skilled negotiator, a persuasive communicator, and a master of political strategy. This aspect of the job is inherently divisive, often pitting the president against their political opponents and creating deep divisions within the country. This requires the president to be resilient, thick-skinned, and able to withstand intense pressure and criticism, placing the president at the center of political battles, where they are constantly under scrutiny and subject to intense criticism from their opponents. This requires the president to be a skilled communicator, able to defend their policies and articulate their vision for the country. The fusion of these two roles, head of state and head of government, creates a unique and often challenging dynamic for the individual holding the office. It requires them to constantly balance competing demands and priorities, navigating the complex interplay between politics and symbolism. creates a powerful and sometimes contradictory dynamic, forcing the president to reconcile the often conflicting demands of national unity and partisan politics. This inherent tension is at the heart of the American presidency, shaping its character and influencing its impact on the world. The president must be a unifying national figure, a symbol of American identity and a source of inspiration for all citizens. This requires them to transcend partisan divisions and appeal to the common values and aspirations that unite the country. And a partisan political fighter, a skilled strategist who can navigate the complex and often treacherous waters of Washington politics. This requires them to be a shrewd negotiator, a persuasive communicator, and a relentless advocate for their policies, often at the same time requiring a delicate balancing act that tests the limits of even the most skilled and experienced leaders. This constant tension is what makes the American presidency such a demanding and challenging job. They must host a state dinner for a foreign leader one evening, extending the hand of friendship and cooperation to a representative of another nation. These events are carefully choreographed to promote goodwill and strengthen diplomatic ties, and then engage in a fierce political battle with the opposition party the next morning, fighting for their policies and defending their record against attacks from their political rivals. This constant back and forth is a defining feature of American politics. This duality means that reverence for the office of the presidency, a deep respect for the institution and its historical significance, is often intertwined with criticism of the individual holding it, a reflection of the intense scrutiny and partisan polarization that characterize modern American politics. The president is both a symbol of national unity and a target of political opposition. Navigating this constant tension between the symbolic role of head of state and the political role of head of government is one of the greatest challenges for any president, requiring a unique blend of political skill, personal resilience, and a deep understanding of American history and culture. It's a balancing act that few individuals are truly capable of mastering. They must carry the symbolic weight of the nation's history and ideals, representing the hopes and aspirations of generations of Americans. This requires them to be mindful of the past, while also looking forward to the future, while simultaneously wading into the messy, contentious work of governing, grappling with complex policy challenges, and navigating the often turbulent waters of partisan politics. This requires them to be both idealistic and pragmatic, visionary and practical. A balancing act that defines the modern American presidency, a constant struggle to reconcile the demands of leadership with the realities of politics. It's a job that demands everything of those who hold it, and one that ultimately shapes the course of American history. Throughout history, the source of power for rulers has varied greatly. Kings claimed divine right, military generals seized control through conquest, and emperors inherited their positions through lineage. But the power of the American presidency does not flow from divine right or military conquest. It doesn't come from birthright or inherited privilege. It represents a radical departure from the traditional sources of authority that had defined governance for centuries. The American presidency is something entirely new, a concept born from revolution and a deep-seated desire to break free from the shackles of the past. Rather, it flows from a single, remarkable document, the Constitution of the United States. This document, more than just a set of rules, is the embodiment of the American experiment, a testament to the belief that a nation can be governed by laws, not by men. It is the foundation upon which the entire structure of American government is built, the source of legitimacy for every action taken by those in power. It is a living document, constantly interpreted and reinterpreted, but its core principles remain the same: liberty, justice, and the rule of law. This parchment, drafted in the sweltering summer of 1787, in Philadelphia's Independence Hall, is, the ultimate source of the president's authority and its limitations. Imagine the scene. Delegates from 12 of the 13 original states, Rhode Island famously abstained, gathered in the stifling heat, locked in intense debate over the future of their fledgling nation. They were farmers, lawyers, merchants, and soldiers, each with their own vision for what America should be. They argued, compromised, and ultimately forged a document that would shape the course of history. The very air in that room was thick with the weight of their responsibility, the knowledge that they were creating something truly revolutionary. Article 2 of the Constitution is dedicated to the executive branch, the branch of government responsible for implementing and enforcing the laws passed by Congress. It is the article that defines the powers and responsibilities of the President, the head of the executive branch. It is a relatively short article, but its impact on American history has been immense. It lays out the qualifications for becoming president, the process for electing a president, and the powers that the president wields. And its opening sentence is deceptively simple. The executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States of America. These words, seemingly straightforward, are the key to understanding the nature of the American presidency. They establish the very existence of the office and grant it the authority to act on behalf of the nation. But what exactly does executive power mean? That question has been the subject of endless debate and interpretation throughout American history. It is a phrase that has been used to justify everything from military interventions to domestic policy initiatives. In those few words, an entire branch of government was created, a branch that would grow to become one of the most powerful institutions in the world. From a small office with limited staff, the executive branch has expanded to encompass a vast array of agencies, departments and bureaus, all working under the direction of the President. It is the branch of government that interacts most directly with the American people, providing services ranging from national defense to social security. An office designed to provide energy and direction to the new nation. The framers of the Constitution understood that a strong executive was essential for the survival of the Republic. They had seen the weaknesses of the Articles of Confederation, which had created a government that was too weak to effectively address the challenges facing the new nation. They wanted a leader who could act decisively in times of crisis, who could represent the United States on the world stage, and who could ensure that the laws were faithfully executed. The framers meticulously outlined the President's duties, powers, and the method of their election. They debated at length the best way to select a president, considering options ranging from direct election by the people to appointment by Congress. Ultimately, they settled on the Electoral College, a compromise designed to balance the interests of the states and the people. They also carefully defined the president's powers, granting them the authority to command the military, negotiate treaties, and appoint officials, but also placing limits on their power to prevent tyranny. The Constitution grants the President a formidable array of powers, making them a central figure in the federal government. These powers are not unlimited, but they are significant enough to allow the President to shape the course of American history. The President can influence legislation, direct the bureaucracy, and set the national agenda. They are the face of the United States to the world, representing the nation's interests in international affairs. It designates the President as the Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy, a title that carries immense weight and responsibility. This power gives the President the authority to direct the military in times of war and peace, to deploy troops around the world, and to make decisions that can have life or death consequences. It is a power that must be exercised with caution and wisdom, as the President's decisions can have a profound impact on the nation and the world, giving them ultimate authority over the nation's military forces. From the Revolutionary War to the present day, the President has played a crucial role in shaping the nation's military strategy and leading its armed forces. They are responsible for ensuring that the military is prepared to defend the nation's interests at home and abroad. The President also has the power to mobilize the National Guard in times of emergency, providing crucial support to state and local authorities. It empowers them to grant pardons, offering forgiveness for federal crimes, a power that can be used to promote justice and mercy, to make treaties with foreign nations, with the Senate's consent, of course, agreements that can shape the course of international relations. The power to grant pardons is a unique and controversial one. allowing the president to overturn the decisions of the courts and offer clemency to those who have been convicted of federal crimes. The treaty-making power allows the president to negotiate agreements with other countries on a wide range of issues, from trade to security, and to appoint ambassadors, cabinet officers, and federal judges. These appointments are crucial to the functioning of the government, as they fill key positions in the executive and judicial branches. The president's choices can have a lasting impact on the direction of the country, shaping policy and interpreting the law for years to come. The power to appoint ambassadors allows the president to represent the United States effectively on the world stage, while the power to appoint cabinet officers allows them to assemble a team of advisors who can help them govern the country. The appointment of federal judges, especially Supreme Court justices, is perhaps the most consequential power of all, as these individuals can shape the interpretation of the Constitution for generations. The President is also charged with the crucial duty to take care that the laws be faithfully executed, a responsibility that underscores their role as the chief executive officer of the nation. This clause, often referred to as the Take Care Clause, is one of the most important provisions in the Constitution, as it ensures that the laws passed by Congress are actually implemented and enforced. It gives the President broad authority to direct the executive branch in carrying out its duties, but it also holds them accountable for ensuring that the laws are followed, making them the nation's chief enforcement officer. They oversee the vast machinery of the federal government, ensuring that laws are implemented fairly and effectively. This includes everything from enforcing environmental regulations to prosecuting criminals to collecting taxes. The President's role as Chief Enforcement Officer is essential to maintaining order and ensuring that the rule of law prevails. These enumerated powers form the bedrock of presidential authority, a clear mandate written into the nation's founding charter for all to see. They are the specific powers that the Constitution explicitly grants to the President, and they provide the legal basis for their actions. But the President also possesses implied powers, powers that are not explicitly mentioned in the Constitution but are necessary to carry out their enumerated powers. The scope of these implied powers has been a source of ongoing debate throughout American history. However, the framers were deeply wary of creating a new monarchy, having just fought a revolution to overthrow the tyranny of King George III. They were determined to create a government that was accountable to the people and that protected individual liberties. They understood that power corrupts, and that even the most well-intentioned leader could be tempted to abuse their authority. So they built a cage of constraints around these powers, a system of checks and balances designed to prevent any one branch of government from becoming too powerful. These constraints are not always easy to navigate, but they are essential to preserving the balance of power and protecting individual liberties. They force the President to work with Congress and the judiciary to compromise and negotiate and to respect the limits of their authority. The Constitution creates a system of checks and balances designed to prevent executive overreach. This system divides power among the three branches of government, the executive, legislative and judicial, and gives each branch the ability to limit the power of the other two. It is a complex and often frustrating system, but it is essential to preventing tyranny and protecting individual liberties. While the President can propose legislation and veto bills passed by Congress, giving them a powerful tool to influence the legislative process, Congress can override that veto with a two-thirds vote in both houses, demonstrating the legislative branch's power to check the executive. This power is rarely used, but it serves as a constant reminder to the President that they are not above the law and that their decisions can be overturned by Congress. While the President appoints judges and cabinet members, choosing individuals to lead key government institutions, the Senate must confirm them, ensuring that these appointees are qualified and acceptable to the legislative branch. This process can be highly politicized, especially when the President and the Senate are controlled by different parties, but it is an essential check on the President's power to appoint officials. Only Congress can declare war, a power vested solely in the legislative branch, and it controls all government funding, including for the military, giving it significant influence over the president's ability to conduct foreign policy and wage war. This power is a crucial check on the president's power as commander-in-chief, ensuring that the decision to go to war is made by the elected representatives of the people, not by a single individual. The House of Representatives holds the power of impeachment, the ability to charge a president with high crimes and misdemeanors, a grave accusation that can lead to removal from office, and the Senate holds the power to remove them from office, a constant check on potential abuses of power. This power has been used sparingly throughout American history, but it serves as a powerful deterrent against presidential misconduct. The impeachment process is a complex and highly political one, but it is an essential safeguard against tyranny. This constitutional framework was a grand design, a blueprint for a government that was both effective and accountable. It was a revolutionary experiment in self-government, designed to balance the need for strong leadership with the protection of individual liberties. The framers of the Constitution understood that government is a necessary evil and that it must be carefully constrained to prevent it from becoming oppressive. It created an office strong enough to lead, but not so strong as to dominate, a delicate balance that has been tested throughout American history. The presidency is a powerful office, but it is not all-powerful. The president must work within the constraints of the Constitution and the laws passed by Congress. They must also be responsive to the needs and concerns of the American people. The language of Article 2, however, is at times broad and ambiguous, leaving much room for interpretation. This ambiguity was not necessarily a flaw in the Constitution, but rather a reflection of the framers' understanding that the world would change and that the Constitution would need to be adapted to new circumstances. They deliberately left some questions unanswered, allowing future generations to interpret the Constitution in light of their own experiences and values. Phrases like executive power have been debated and reinterpreted for over 2 centuries, becoming a battleground for competing visions of the presidency. Legal scholars, politicians, and ordinary citizens have all weighed in on the meaning of these words, shaping the evolution of the office over time. The debate over executive power is not just an academic exercise, it has real-world consequences, shaping the way the president interacts with Congress, the judiciary, and the American people. This ambiguity has allowed the presidency to evolve and adapt to new challenges, transforming from the relatively weak office envisioned by the framers to the powerful institution it is today. The presidency has grown in response to wars, economic crises, and social movements, each of which has tested the limits of presidential power and shaped the way the office is understood, with each president testing the limits of their constitutional authority. Some presidents have sought to expand presidential power, while others have been more cautious in their approach. Each president has left their mark on the office, shaping its character and influencing its future direction. The ongoing tension between presidential authority and constitutional limits is a defining feature of the American political system. The story of the presidency is, in many ways, the story of the ongoing struggle to define the boundaries of the power first laid out on that fragile parchment. It is a story of ambition and restraint, of power and accountability, of the enduring tension between the executive branch and the other branches of government. It is a story that continues to unfold with each new president, each new challenge, and each new interpretation of the Constitution. The presidency is a living institution, constantly evolving and adapting to the changing needs of the nation. Among the president's most significant and solemn duties, one that resonates with the very core of national security and global influence is the role of Commander-in-Chief of the United States Armed Forces. This isn't merely a title, it's a profound responsibility, a weight that rests heavily on the shoulders of the individual holding the highest office in the land. It's a role steeped in history, tradition, and the ever-present reality of potential conflict. The decisions made by the Commander-in-Chief can alter the course of nations, impact the lives of millions, and shape the future of the world. It demands a unique blend of strategic thinking, decisive action, and unwavering moral compass. This constitutional designation, enshrined in the very foundation of American governance, places the ultimate authority over the world's most powerful military, a force capable of projecting power across the globe, in the hands of a single civilian leader. This individual, elected by the people and accountable to them, holds the power to command armies, deploy naval fleets, and direct air forces. The implications of this power are staggering, demanding careful consideration and a deep understanding of the complexities of international relations, military strategy, and the potential consequences of every decision. This was a deliberate and radical choice by the nation's founders, a decision born out of deep-seated concerns about the potential for military overreach and the preservation of democratic ideals. They understood the inherent dangers of concentrating military power in the hands of a single individual, but they also recognized the need for decisive leadership in times of crisis. Their solution was to create a system of checks and balances, ensuring that the power of the commander-in-chief was tempered by the oversight of the legislative and judicial branches. They believed, quite strongly, that civilian control of the military was essential to safeguarding the republic from the threat of a military coup or dictatorship, a common fate for republics throughout history. The founders were acutely aware of the historical examples of republics collapsing under the weight of military ambition. They studied the rise and fall of ancient empires, the intrigues of Roman generals, and the dangers of standing armies. Their goal was to create a system that would prevent such a fate from befalling the newly formed United States, a system where the military served the people, not the other way around. This principle remains a cornerstone of American democracy to this day. The president, an elected official accountable to the people through regular elections and subject to the scrutiny of public opinion, would always stand above the generals and admirals, ensuring that military expertise is always subordinate to civilian leadership and democratic values. This dynamic is crucial for maintaining a healthy balance of power and preventing the military from becoming an independent force within the government. The president's role is to provide strategic guidance, set policy objectives, and ensure that military actions align with the nation's overall interests and values, ensuring that the nation's sword and shield, the instruments of its defense and the projection of its power, serve the nation's will, not the other way around. The military exists to protect the nation, its interests, and its values. It is a tool to be used judiciously and strategically, always in accordance with the principles of democracy and the rule of law. The Commander-in-Chief is responsible for ensuring that this tool is used wisely and effectively, always with the best interests of the nation at heart. This power is immense, almost unfathomable in its scope, and carries with it a truly awesome responsibility, a burden that weighs heavily on the conscience of every president who has ever held the office. The decisions made by the Commander-in-Chief can have profound and lasting consequences, impacting not only the lives of American citizens, but also the stability of the global order. It is a power that demands humility, wisdom, and a deep understanding of the complexities of the world. As Commander-in-Chief, the President directs military strategy and operations, setting the overall objectives and priorities for the armed forces. This involves working closely with the Secretary of Defense, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and other key military leaders to develop and implement plans for defending the nation and projecting its power abroad. The President must also be able to assess risks, weigh options, and make difficult decisions under pressure, often with limited information and in the face of uncertainty. They have the authority to deploy troops anywhere in the world, sending American service members into harm's way to protect national interests, defend allies, or respond to humanitarian crises. This is a decision that is never taken lightly, as it involves the potential for loss of life and the commitment of significant resources. The President must carefully consider the potential consequences of any military action, both at home and abroad, and weigh the risks and benefits before making a final decision. To initiate military actions, from limited strikes to full-scale invasions, and to oversee the vast defense establishment, a complex and sprawling bureaucracy that consumes a significant portion of the nation's budget. Managing this vast enterprise requires strong leadership, effective communication, and a deep understanding of the intricacies of military procurement, logistics, and personnel management. The President must also be able to work effectively with Congress to secure the necessary funding and support for the armed forces. From the Situation Room in the White House, a secure and technologically advanced command center, the President receives real-time intelligence gathered from around the globe by a network of spies, satellites, and other sources. This information provides critical insights into potential threats, emerging crises, and the activities of adversaries. The President relies on this intelligence to make informed decisions about national security and to guide military operations, and makes life and death decisions that affect not only the lives of American service members who are willing to sacrifice everything for their country, but also the lives of civilians in conflict zones and the stability of entire regions. These decisions are often made under immense pressure with limited time and incomplete information. The President must be able to weigh the risks and benefits, consider the ethical implications, and make the best possible choice in the face of uncertainty. But also, the course of global events shaping the relationships between nations, influencing the balance of power, and determining the future of international security. The decisions made by the Commander-in-Chief can have ripple effects that extend far beyond the immediate crisis, impacting the global economy, the environment, and the lives of generations to come. It is a responsibility that demands a global perspective and a deep understanding of the interconnectedness of the world. This includes the sole authority to authorize the use of the nation's nuclear arsenal, the most destructive weapons ever created, a burden so heavy it is almost impossible to comprehend, a responsibility that carries with it the potential to unleash unimaginable devastation and alter the course of human history. The decision to use nuclear weapons is the ultimate deterrent, a last resort to be considered only in the most extreme circumstances. The President must be prepared to make this decision if necessary, but also to work tirelessly to prevent such a scenario from ever occurring. The weight of this role has profoundly shaped the presidency and the individuals who have held the office, testing their character, challenging their judgment, and forcing them to confront the most difficult and consequential decisions imaginable. The experience of serving as Commander-in-Chief leaves an indelible mark on every president, shaping their worldview and influencing their legacy. While the President commands the military, the Constitution places a critical check on this power with the Congress, ensuring that the decision to go to war is not solely the prerogative of the executive branch. This division of power reflects the founders' deep-seated distrust of unchecked authority and their commitment to a system of checks and balances. Only Congress, the body representing the will of the people, has the authority to formally declare war, a power explicitly granted to them by the Constitution. This ensures that the decision to commit the nation to armed conflict is subject to public debate and the consent of the elected representatives of the people. This was intended to ensure that the momentous decision to commit the nation to a full-scale conflict would be a shared one, requiring the consent of the people's elected representatives after careful deliberation and public debate. The process of declaring war is designed to be slow and deliberate, forcing the nation to confront the gravity of the decision and to consider the potential consequences before committing to military action. However, over the past century, this distinction has blurred, as presidents have increasingly asserted their authority to use military force without a formal declaration of war. This trend has led to an ongoing debate about the proper scope of presidential power and the role of Congress in matters of war and peace. Presidents have increasingly initiated large-scale military actions without a formal declaration of war, using their authority as Commander-in-Chief to respond to perceived threats, protect national interests, or enforce international norms. This has been particularly true in the post-World War II era, as the United States has become increasingly involved in global affairs and has faced a variety of complex and evolving security challenges. This has led to a persistent and often heated debate about the proper balance of war-making powers between the executive and legislative branches, a debate that continues to shape American foreign policy and national security strategy. The question of whether the president has the authority to initiate military action without congressional approval remains a contentious issue, with legal scholars, policymakers, and the public holding differing views. The role of Commander-in-Chief has been central to many of the defining moments in American history, shaping the nation's identity, influencing its foreign policy, and determining its place in the world. From the Civil War to the Cold War to the War on Terror, the decisions made by the Commander-in-Chief have had a profound and lasting impact on the course of American history. It was Abraham Lincoln, exercising his war powers as Commander-in-Chief during the Civil War, who issued the Emancipation Proclamation, a landmark decree that freed enslaved people in Confederate territories and transformed the moral character of the conflict. This bold and controversial decision demonstrated the power of the presidency to shape the course of history and to advance the cause of human rights. It was Franklin D. Roosevelt who led the nation through the Second World War, mobilizing the American economy, forging alliances with other nations, and ultimately defeating the Axis powers. His leadership during this global conflict solidified the United States' position as a world power and shaped the post-war international order. And it was in the shadow of the Cold War and the War on Terror that the military powers of the presidency expanded to an unprecedented degree as the United States engaged in a global struggle against communism and then against terrorism. These conflicts led to the creation of new government agencies, the expansion of surveillance powers, and the increased use of military force around the world. This role forces a president to confront the stark realities of life and death, of war and peace, of the immense power they wield and the profound consequences of their decisions. It is a constant balancing act between protecting national security and upholding democratic values, between projecting power and promoting diplomacy. It is, without a doubt, the ultimate test of leadership, a crucible in which a president's character, judgment, and vision are tested to their limits. The decisions made as Commander-in-Chief define a presidency and shape a legacy. A responsibility that defines the presidency as a position of unparalleled global power and moral consequence. A position that demands the utmost in wisdom, courage, and commitment to the principles of peace and justice. The Commander-in-Chief is not only the leader of the armed forces, but also a symbol of the nation's values and aspirations on the world stage. In an interconnected world, the President of the United States is more than just a national leader. They are a pivotal figure whose decisions resonate far beyond America's borders. The weight of global expectations rests upon their shoulders as they navigate a complex web of international relations, striving to balance national interests with the collective well-being of humanity. The modern presidency demands a leader capable of understanding intricate geopolitical dynamics, anticipating future challenges, and articulating a vision for a more peaceful and prosperous world. This role requires not only political acumen, but also a deep understanding of diverse cultures, histories, and perspectives. They're a preeminent figure on the global stage. Their words carry immense weight, capable of influencing global opinion, shaping international agendas, and even averting potential crises. The President's presence at international forums, such as the United Nations General Assembly, underscores their commitment to multilateralism and their willingness to engage with the global community in addressing shared challenges. This position demands a delicate balance of power, influence, and responsibility, as the President must navigate competing interests and forge consensus among nations with diverse priorities. The Constitution grants the President the primary role in shaping and conducting the nation's foreign policy. This constitutional mandate empowers the President to act as the chief architect of America's engagement with the world, setting the strategic direction and overseeing the implementation of foreign policy initiatives. From negotiating treaties to deploying diplomatic resources, the President wields significant authority in shaping the nation's relationships with other countries. This responsibility requires a deep understanding of constitutional principles, as well as a keen awareness of the historical context and evolving geopolitical landscape. They are America's chief diplomat, its principal negotiator, and its most prominent voice to the rest of the world. In this multifaceted role, the president serves as the face of American diplomacy, engaging in direct dialogue with foreign leaders, representing the nation's interests in international negotiations, and articulating its values and aspirations on the global stage. This requires not only exceptional communication skills, but also a deep understanding of cultural nuances, diplomatic protocols, and the art of persuasion. The president's ability to build rapport with foreign counterparts, navigate complex negotiations, and project an image of strength and credibility is crucial to advancing America's foreign policy objectives. When the president speaks, other nations listen, often with bated breath, analyzing every word for clues about America's intentions and priorities. The president's pronouncements can shape global perceptions, influence international debates, and even trigger significant shifts in geopolitical dynamics. This power of influence demands careful consideration and strategic communication, as the president must weigh the potential consequences of their words and ensure that their message is clear, consistent, and aligned with America's long-term interests. The world's attention is constantly focused on the president's words, making every speech, press conference, and public statement a critical opportunity to advance America's agenda and shape the global narrative. Not just because of the military and economic power they represent, which undoubtedly commands attention and respect, but also because of the values and ideals that America espouses. The United States' commitment to democracy, human rights, and the rule of law serves as a beacon of hope for many around the world, and the president's words can either reinforce or undermine these values. The president's ability to project an image of strength, competence, and moral leadership is essential to maintaining America's credibility and influence on the global stage. But because their words can set the tone for international relations, forge alliances, or deepen rivalries, a single, carefully chosen phrase can de-escalate a tense situation, while a poorly worded statement can ignite a diplomatic crisis. The president's words can build bridges between nations, fostering cooperation and mutual understanding, or they can erect walls, exacerbating existing tensions and creating new divisions. The power to shape international relations through language is a formidable tool, but it also carries immense responsibility. This diplomatic power is a central pillar of the modern presidency, a defining characteristic that distinguishes the office from its domestic counterparts. The president's ability to engage in effective diplomacy is crucial to advancing America's interests, promoting global stability, and addressing shared challenges. This power is not absolute, however, as it is subject to constitutional constraints, congressional oversight, and the ever-present scrutiny of public opinion. Shaping how the United States interacts with the global community. It dictates the nature of our alliances, the scope of our trade agreements, and our approach to international conflicts. The president's foreign policy decisions have a direct impact on the lives of Americans, as well as on the well-being of people around the world. This interconnectedness underscores the importance of informed decision-making, strategic planning, and effective communication in the conduct of American foreign policy. The president's diplomatic toolkit is, well, really extensive. It's a collection of powers, strategies, and resources that they can deploy to advance America's interests and shape the global landscape. From formal treaties to informal agreements, from economic sanctions to diplomatic overtures, the president has a wide range of tools at their disposal. The effective use of this toolkit requires a deep understanding of international relations, a keen sense of political timing, and the ability to adapt to changing circumstances. They have the power to negotiate and sign treaties with other countries, formal agreements that establish legal obligations, and govern relations between nations on a wide range of issues, from trade and security to environmental protection and human rights. These treaties can have a profound and lasting impact on the global order, shaping international norms and setting the framework for cooperation on shared challenges. Although these agreements require the advice and consent of a two-thirds majority in the Senate to become law. This constitutional requirement ensures that treaties reflect the broad consensus of the American people and that they are consistent with the nation's values and interests. The Senate's role in treaty ratification provides a check on presidential power and ensures that foreign policy decisions are subject to democratic accountability. To bypass this often difficult process, presidents frequently use executive agreements, which offer a more expedient way to address international issues without the need for Senate approval. This flexibility allows the president to respond quickly to emerging challenges and to enter into agreements with other countries on matters of mutual interest, which do not require Senate ratification to handle a wide range of international arrangements. These agreements can cover a wide spectrum of issues, from trade and investment to security cooperation and environmental protection. While executive agreements offer greater flexibility, they also raise questions about the balance of power between the executive and legislative branches and the extent of presidential authority in foreign policy. The president also has the sole power to formally recognize foreign governments, a significant diplomatic prerogative that carries considerable weight in international relations. Recognition signifies that the United States accepts a foreign government as legitimate and is willing to engage with it on a diplomatic level, a crucial diplomatic tool that can bestow legitimacy or signal disapproval. Withholding recognition can isolate a regime, limit its access to international institutions, and undermine its standing in the global community. Conversely, granting recognition can strengthen a government's position, facilitate diplomatic engagement, and promote stability in a region. By receiving ambassadors and sending American envoys abroad, the president maintains a constant flow of communication and engagement with other nations, fostering dialogue, building relationships, and gathering information that is vital to informed decision-making. This network of diplomatic representatives serves as the eyes and ears of the United States around the world, providing valuable insights into local conditions, political dynamics, and potential threats. The president manages the day-to-day machinery of international diplomacy, overseeing the State Department, directing diplomatic initiatives, and coordinating foreign policy efforts across various government agencies. This requires strong leadership, effective management skills, and the ability to navigate a complex bureaucracy, building relationships that are vital to national security and prosperity. These relationships extend beyond governments to include businesses, civil society organizations, and individuals who play a crucial role in shaping the global landscape. By fostering strong relationships with these diverse actors, the president can advance America's interests, promote its values, and contribute to a more peaceful and prosperous world. The president's role as a global leader is also, honestly, intensely personal. It's not just about policy papers and formal agreements, it's about the human connections that are forged through dialogue, empathy, and mutual respect. The president's personal interactions with foreign leaders can have a profound impact on the course of international relations. Diplomacy is not just conducted through formal documents, it's a human endeavor that relies on trust, understanding, and the ability to see the world from another's perspective. The formal agreements and treaties are important, but they are only as effective as the relationships that underpin them. It is built on relationships between leaders. These relationships can be the key to resolving conflicts, forging alliances, and addressing shared challenges. A strong personal connection between leaders can facilitate open communication, build trust, and create a foundation for cooperation. Summits and state visits are critical opportunities for the president to engage in face-to-face negotiations, to build trust, and to take the measure of their foreign counterparts. These events provide a platform for leaders to discuss pressing issues, exchange ideas, and forge personal connections that can shape the course of international relations. The informal interactions that take place during these events, such as private conversations and shared meals, can be just as important as the formal meetings. A handshake at a G7 summit, seemingly a simple gesture, can convey a message of solidarity, cooperation, and mutual respect. It can signal a willingness to work together to address shared challenges and to uphold international norms. A shared meal at a state dinner, a carefully choreographed event, can create an atmosphere of warmth, hospitality, and cultural exchange. It provides an opportunity for leaders to connect on a personal level, to learn about each other's cultures, and to build bridges of understanding. Or a tense private meeting can have profound implications for global peace and stability. These high-stakes encounters can determine whether conflicts are resolved peacefully or escalate into violence, whether alliances are strengthened or fractured, and whether the world moves closer to or further away from a more secure and prosperous future. The president must be a skilled negotiator, able to find common ground and bridge divides, a keen judge of character, able to assess the motivations and intentions of foreign leaders, and a compelling advocate for American interests, able to articulate the nation's values and defend its policies on the global stage, all while navigating the complex and often delicate etiquette of international relations. This requires a deep understanding of cultural norms, diplomatic protocols, and the art of tact and diplomacy. A misstep in etiquette can have unintended consequences, undermining trust and damaging relationships. This personal dimension of diplomacy makes the president the living embodiment of American foreign policy. Their actions, their words, and their demeanor all reflect on the United States and its standing in the world. The president's personal qualities, such as their integrity, their empathy, and their leadership, can have a significant impact on how America is perceived by other nations. From the Monroe Doctrine in the 19th century, which warned European powers away from the Western Hemisphere, asserting American dominance in the region and shaping the course of hemispheric relations for decades to come. This bold declaration set a precedent for American foreign policy and established the United States as a major player on the world stage. To the containment strategy of the Cold War, a long and arduous struggle against Soviet expansionism that defined American foreign policy for much of the 20th century. This strategy involved a complex web of alliances, military deployments, and economic assistance programs aimed at preventing the spread of communism and preserving the balance of power. And the complex challenges of the 21st century, including terrorism, climate change, and economic instability, which demand innovative solutions and international cooperation. The president has consistently played a central role in shaping America's response to these global challenges. The president has always been at the helm of America's journey in the world, guiding the nation through periods of both peace and conflict, prosperity and adversity. The president's leadership has been instrumental in shaping America's destiny and its role in the global community. The rise of the United States to superpower status has only magnified this role, increasing the president's influence and responsibility on the global stage. As the world's leading economic and military power, the United States has a unique ability to shape international events and to promote its values and interests around the world. Issues like international trade, which can create jobs, boost economic growth, and foster closer ties between nations, but also can lead to trade imbalances, job losses, and economic disruption, require careful negotiation and strategic planning. Climate change, a global crisis that threatens the planet and demands urgent action, requiring international cooperation to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, develop renewable energy sources, and adapt to the impacts of a changing climate. Nuclear proliferation, a grave threat to global security that requires constant vigilance and diplomatic efforts to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons and to reduce the risk of nuclear war, demanding strong international agreements and effective verification mechanisms. And global health now demand presidential leadership. Pandemics, like the recent COVID-19 crisis, can spread rapidly across borders, disrupting economies, overwhelming healthcare systems, and causing immense human suffering, requiring international cooperation to develop vaccines, distribute treatments, and strengthen global health infrastructure. As America's voice to the world, the president must articulate the nation's values and defend its interests, promoting democracy, human rights, and the rule of law, while also protecting American security and prosperity. This requires a delicate balance between idealism and pragmatism, between promoting universal values and protecting national interests, navigating a complex and ever-changing global landscape characterized by shifting power dynamics, emerging threats, and interconnected challenges. This requires a deep understanding of geopolitics, a keen sense of strategic foresight, and the ability to adapt to rapidly changing circumstances, where their decisions can have far-reaching consequences for all of humanity. The president's choices can affect the lives of billions of people around the world, shaping the future of the planet and determining the course of history. This immense responsibility demands wisdom, courage, and a deep commitment to the common good. The Presidency of the United States. It's a title that evokes images of power, responsibility, and the weight of history. It represents the pinnacle of political achievement, a position envied and sought after by many, yet attained by only a select few. The journey to this esteemed office is not one of simple ascent, but rather a complex and demanding odyssey. It is not an office that is inherited through lineage, nor can it be seized through force or manipulation. It is won through tireless effort, strategic brilliance, and the unwavering support of the American people. It's a testament to the democratic ideals upon which this nation was founded. The path to the White House is one of the most arduous and demanding political journeys in the world. It's a gauntlet of challenges, a relentless test of character, and a trial by fire that separates the contenders from the victors. It demands not only ambition and drive, but also a deep understanding of the American people, their hopes, their fears, and their aspirations. It is a marathon, not a sprint, that tests the physical stamina of those who embark upon it. The endless travel, the countless speeches, the constant demands on one's time and energy, it all takes a toll. Candidates must possess an almost superhuman level of endurance to withstand the rigors of the campaign trail. Beyond physical endurance, the journey also demands intellectual depth. Candidates must be able to articulate complex policy positions, engage in thoughtful debate, and demonstrate a clear understanding of the challenges facing the nation, both at home and abroad. They must be able to think critically, analyze information effectively, and make sound judgments under pressure. And perhaps most importantly, the path to the presidency tests the emotional resilience of anyone who dares to undertake it. The constant scrutiny, the personal attacks, the inevitable setbacks, all of these can take a heavy toll on even the most seasoned political veterans. Candidates must be able to maintain their composure, stay focused on their goals, and persevere in the face of adversity. The U.S. Constitution, the bedrock of American democracy, sets forth simple eligibility criteria for those who aspire to the highest office in the land. These requirements, while seemingly straightforward, are the foundation upon which the entire process rests. First and foremost, a candidate must be a natural-born citizen of the United States, a requirement designed to ensure that the president's allegiance lies solely with the American people. This provision, debated and interpreted throughout history, underscores the importance of unwavering loyalty to the nation. Secondly, a candidate must be at least 35 years old, a minimum age intended to ensure that the individual possesses a certain level of maturity, experience, and judgment necessary to lead the country. This age requirement reflects the Founding Fathers' belief that the presidency should be held by someone with a proven track record. And finally, a candidate must have resided in the country for at least 14 years. A residency requirement designed to ensure that the individual has a deep understanding of American society, culture, and values. This provision emphasizes the importance of being intimately familiar with the nation one seeks to lead. But meeting these requirements is merely the first, and honestly the easiest, step on the long and winding road to the White House. These are the basic qualifications, the price of admission, if you will. The real challenge lies ahead. The true test lies in convincing millions of fellow citizens, each with their own unique perspectives, beliefs and concerns, that you are worthy of their trust and their vote. It's about connecting with the American people on a personal level, understanding their needs, and offering them a vision for a better future. The process begins long before the official election year, often years in advance, with quiet strategizing, building networks, and laying the groundwork for a potential run. It's a period of intense preparation, self-reflection, and careful calculation. Aspiring candidates must build a vast political and fundraising organization, a complex network of advisors, staff, and volunteers, all working towards a common goal. This organization becomes the engine that drives the campaign forward. They embark on a relentless journey, crisscrossing the country to build name recognition, cultivate relationships with key stakeholders, and garner the support of influential figures. This constant travel and engagement are crucial for building momentum and establishing a strong presence in the political landscape. The first major hurdle, a significant test of a candidate's viability, is the primary election season. This is where the field of contenders begins to narrow and the true frontrunners emerge. It's a grueling state-by-state contest where candidates from the same party, often with differing ideologies and approaches, compete against each other for the chance to represent their party in the general election. This internal battle can be fierce and unforgiving. They engage in a relentless series of debates, often under intense pressure, where they must articulate their policy positions, defend their records, and differentiate themselves from their rivals. These debates are often pivotal moments that can shape the trajectory of a campaign. They participate in town halls, engaging directly with voters, answering their questions, and addressing their concerns. These town halls provide a crucial opportunity for candidates to connect with the American people on a personal level and demonstrate their understanding of the issues that matter most to them. And they hold countless rallies, energizing their supporters, building momentum, and spreading their message to a wider audience. These rallies are often spectacles of political theatre, designed to generate excitement and enthusiasm for the candidate and their platform. From the small diners of New Hampshire, where retail politics reigns supreme, to the sprawling suburbs of California, where media markets dominate, candidates must adapt their strategies to appeal to diverse constituencies across the country. This requires a deep understanding of local issues and a willingness to tailor their message to resonate with different communities. Every word they utter is scrutinized by the media, every policy position dissected by pundits, and every action analyzed for its potential impact on the race. The constant media attention can be both a blessing and a curse, providing valuable exposure, but also creating opportunities for missteps and gaffes. Candidates must walk a delicate tightrope, appealing to their party's base, the most loyal and engaged members, without alienating the broader electorate they will ultimately need to win the general election. This requires a nuanced understanding of the political landscape and the ability to bridge divides and build consensus. It is a brutal process that exposes every weakness, magnifies every mistake, and forces candidates to hone their message, refine their strategies, and demonstrate their leadership qualities under immense pressure. Only those who can withstand the heat of the campaign trail will emerge as viable contenders. Once each major party has selected its nominee at a national convention, a grand spectacle of political pageantry and party unity, the stage is set for the final showdown. The general election campaign begins in earnest, marking the start of a new phase in the race for the White House. The stakes are higher, the scrutiny is more intense, and the competition is fiercer than ever before. The two candidates, now representing their respective parties, embark on a frantic months-long sprint to the finish line, a whirlwind of rallies, debates, and media appearances. The pace is relentless, the pressure is immense, and the margin for error is razor-thin. The campaign trail becomes their life, consuming their every waking moment and demanding their undivided attention. Sleep becomes a luxury. Personal time becomes non-existent, and the line between public and private life becomes increasingly blurred. It's a whirlwind of airport tarmacs, where candidates greet supporters and address the media, often in fleeting moments between flights. These tarmac appearances are carefully orchestrated to maximize exposure and create a sense of momentum. Campaign buses become mobile headquarters, providing a space for candidates and their staff to strategize, rest, and prepare for the next event. These buses are often plastered with campaign slogans and images, serving as rolling billboards that spread the candidate's message across the country. And packed arenas filled with enthusiastic supporters become the backdrop for rousing speeches and displays of political strength. These rallies are designed to energize the base, attract media attention, and create a sense of excitement and momentum around the campaign. They must articulate a clear and compelling vision for the country's future, outlining their policy priorities and explaining how they will address the challenges facing the nation while simultaneously attacking their opponent's record, questioning their judgment, and highlighting the flaws in their proposals. This delicate balancing act requires skill, discipline, and a deep understanding of the political landscape. The cost of this endeavor is staggering, reaching astronomical sums that would have been unimaginable just a few decades ago. Modern presidential campaigns are multi-million and often multi-billion dollar operations. It requires hundreds of millions, sometimes billions of dollars to fund a relentless barrage of advertising, saturating the airwaves and the internet with carefully crafted messages designed to sway voters. These ads can be persuasive, informative, or even misleading, and they play a crucial role in shaping public opinion. A massive army of staff, including campaign managers, strategists, communications experts, and field organizers, is essential to coordinate the complex logistics of a national campaign. These individuals work tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure that the campaign runs smoothly and efficiently. And the sheer cost of travel, transporting candidates and their entourages across the country, adds another significant layer to the financial burden. Airfare, hotels, rental cars and security details all contribute to the ever-increasing price tag of a presidential campaign. The media spotlight is relentless and unforgiving, scrutinizing every aspect of the candidates' lives, from their policy positions to their personal histories. The press plays a crucial role in informing the public, but also has the power to shape perceptions and influence the outcome of the election, turning the election into a national drama that captivates not only the country but also the world, as people around the globe watch with bated breath to see who will lead the world's most powerful nation. The outcome of the US presidential election has far-reaching implications for international relations, global trade, and the future of democracy itself. The election culminates on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November, a day when millions of Americans head to the polls to cast their ballots and exercise their fundamental right to choose their leader. This day is a celebration of democracy, a testament to the power of the people to shape their own destiny. But the popular vote, the total number of votes cast for each candidate, does not directly determine the winner of the presidency. This is a crucial point to understand, as it often leads to confusion and debate. Instead, Americans vote for electors, individuals who are pledged to a particular candidate in a system known as the Electoral College. These electors, chosen by each state, cast the actual votes that determine the outcome of the election. This unique system, established by the Constitution, was designed by the Founding Fathers as a compromise between a popular vote election and a congressional election of the president. It reflects their concerns about the potential for tyranny of the majority and the importance of protecting the interests of smaller states. A candidate must secure a majority of these electoral votes, at least 270 out of 538, to win the presidency. This threshold represents the magic number that unlocks the doors to the White House. This indirect system means that the path to victory is not simply about winning the most votes nationwide, but rather about carefully crafting a complex strategic map, targeting specific states and maximizing electoral vote potential. The focus is often on a handful of competitive swing states, also known as battleground states, where the outcome is uncertain and the candidates invest heavily in campaigning and advertising. These states hold the key to the presidency, and their voters are bombarded with messages from both sides. This grueling, expensive, and often divisive process, with all its complexities and contradictions, is the crucible through which every president must pass. A trial by fire that tests their character, their leadership, and their commitment to the American people. Only then, after surviving this arduous journey, Can they take the oath of office, pledging to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States and assume the immense powers and responsibilities of the presidency? It is a moment of profound significance, marking the beginning of a new chapter in American history. But once a president leaves office, a new chapter begins, not just for them personally, but for the nation as a whole. The weight of leadership lifts, the daily crises subside, and the relentless demands of the highest office finally ease. But even as they transition into private life, a different kind of challenge emerges, the quest for a favorable legacy. This becomes their final, perhaps most enduring campaign. It's a campaign fought not with rallies and speeches, but with memoirs, foundations, and carefully cultivated narratives. The judgment of history is the final verdict on a presidency, a comprehensive assessment that considers not only the immediate impact of policies, but also their long-term consequences. It's a complex and multifaceted evaluation, taking into account the social, economic, and political landscape of the time, as well as the president's leadership style, character, and vision for the future. This verdict isn't delivered swiftly. It unfolds over time, shaped by evolving perspectives and new discoveries. A verdict that can shift and evolve over decades and even centuries. What was once considered a triumph might later be viewed as a misstep, and vice versa. The lens of history offers a unique perspective, allowing us to see the interconnectedness of events and the unintended consequences of decisions. This long-term perspective is crucial for understanding the true impact of a presidency and its place in the broader sweep of American history. The initial reactions, the immediate headlines, fade into the background as historians delve deeper, uncovering nuances and complexities that were often missed in the heat of the moment. Presidents are acutely aware of this, understanding that their actions will be scrutinized and debated long after they leave office. They know that their decisions will be dissected by historians, analyzed by political scientists, and judged by the court of public opinion, often thinking about how their decisions will be viewed by future generations even while they are in office. This awareness shapes their approach to governing, influencing their policy choices and their interactions with the public. It's a constant balancing act between addressing immediate needs and considering the long-term implications of their actions. The weight of this responsibility can be immense, knowing that their legacy will be forever intertwined with the fate of the nation. They are not just making decisions for today, they are shaping the world for tomorrow. They write memoirs, offering their own accounts of their time in power, attempting to frame their decisions and explain their motivations. They establish presidential libraries to house their papers, creating archives that will be invaluable resources for future historians. And they work to shape the narrative of their time in power, giving speeches, granting interviews, and engaging with the public to ensure that their story is told the way they want it to be. These efforts are all part of the ongoing effort to influence how they will be remembered. They understand that their 4 or 8 years in the White House are but a brief moment, a fleeting chapter in the long and complex history of the United States. The presidency is a temporary position, a passing of the torch from one leader to the next, and their ultimate standing will depend on the long-term consequences of their actions. The policies they enact, the decisions they make, and the leadership they provide will have ripple effects that extend far beyond their time in office. These consequences will shape the lives of future generations, influencing the course of American society and the nation's role in the world. It is this long-term impact that ultimately determines a president's place in history. Defining presidential greatness is, well, a complex and subjective exercise. There is no single, universally accepted definition of what constitutes a great president. Different people will have different criteria based on their own values, beliefs, and political perspectives. What one person considers a strength, another might see as a weakness. Historians and the public often look for certain qualities and achievements. These might include strong leadership, effective communication skills, a clear vision for the future, and the ability to unite the country during times of crisis. They also consider the president's policy accomplishments, their impact on the economy, and their contributions to social justice and equality. Public opinion polls can provide a snapshot of how a president is viewed at a particular moment in time, but these opinions can shift dramatically over time as new information emerges and perspectives evolve. Did the president lead the nation through a major crisis, such as a war or an economic depression? Times of crisis often demand decisive leadership, and presidents who rise to the occasion and guide the country through difficult times are often remembered as great leaders. These crises test a president's character, their ability to make tough decisions under pressure, and their capacity to inspire hope and confidence in the American people. The ability to navigate these challenges successfully can solidify a president's legacy and cement their place in history. Did they successfully champion transformative legislation that reshaped American society, like the Civil Rights Act or the creation of Social Security? These landmark laws had a profound and lasting impact on the lives of millions of Americans, expanding opportunities, promoting equality, and providing a safety net for those in need. Presidents who are able to enact such transformative legislation are often seen as visionaries who left a lasting positive mark on the country. These achievements demonstrate a president's ability to build consensus, overcome opposition, and translate their vision into concrete policy changes. Did they expand liberty and justice for more Americans? Did they fight for the rights of marginalized groups, challenge discrimination, and promote equality for all? Presidents who champion these values are often seen as moral leaders who advanced the cause of human rights and made the country a more just and equitable place. Their actions inspire future generations to continue the struggle for equality and justice. Leaders like George Washington for establishing the Republic's traditions, his leadership during the Revolutionary War, and his willingness to step down from power after serving 2 terms set a precedent for future presidents and helped to establish the foundations of American democracy. He is revered as the father of his country for his pivotal role in shaping the nation's early history. Abraham Lincoln for preserving the Union and ending slavery. His leadership during the Civil War saved the nation from collapse, and his Emancipation Proclamation paved the way for the abolition of slavery. He is remembered as a courageous and compassionate leader who fought for the ideals of liberty and equality. And Franklin D. Roosevelt, for guiding the country through the Great Depression and World War II, his New Deal programs provided relief to millions of Americans struggling during the Depression, and his leadership during World War II helped to defeat fascism and secure the nation's place as a global superpower. He is remembered as a transformative leader who redefined the role of government in American life, are consistently ranked at the top of presidential polls for these very reasons. Their leadership during times of crisis, their transformative policy achievements, and their commitment to expanding liberty and justice have earned them a place among the pantheon of great American presidents. Their legacies continue to inspire and shape the nation today. However, a president's legacy is never monolithic. It's rarely a simple story of unmitigated success or abject failure. The reality is far more nuanced and complex. It is a complex tapestry woven with threads of triumph and failure, of celebrated successes and deep-seated controversies. Every president faces difficult choices, makes mistakes, and leaves behind a mixed record. A president praised for their foreign policy achievements might be criticized for their domestic policies. Perhaps they brokered a historic peace agreement but failed to address pressing social problems at home. Or maybe they implemented innovative economic reforms, but alienated key allies on the international stage. An economic boom during their tenure might be followed by a bust, forcing a re-evaluation of their decisions. A period of prosperity and growth can mask underlying economic vulnerabilities, which may eventually lead to a downturn. This can lead to a reassessment of the president's economic policies and their long-term impact. Controversies that seemed minor at the time can grow in historical significance as new information comes to light and perspectives shift. What was once dismissed as a minor indiscretion might later be seen as evidence of a deeper pattern of misconduct or abuse of power. while actions that were once condemned can later be seen as courageous or necessary. A decision that was unpopular at the time might later be recognized as having been essential for the long-term good of the country. The passage of time provides new perspectives, and the discovery of new evidence can dramatically alter our understanding of a president's character and motivations. Newly uncovered documents, personal letters, and eyewitness accounts can shed light on previously unknown aspects of a president's life and presidency. Ultimately, a president's legacy is written not just in stone monuments or the pages of history books. These are tangible reminders of their time in office, but they only tell part of the story. But in the collective memory of the nation, it's the shared understanding of their presidency, the stories that are told and retold, and the values that are associated with their name. It lives on in the laws they signed, the institutions they built, and the way they changed the country's direction. These are the lasting legacies that shape the lives of future generations. It is debated in classrooms, argued over by pundits, and reflected in the ongoing political struggles that often trace their roots back to a particular administration. The echoes of their decisions can be heard in the political debates of today. The story of each president is a reminder that leadership is consequential, that every decision, every action has the potential to shape the course of history, that the choices made in the Oval Office have a profound and lasting impact on the life of the nation and the world. The weight of this responsibility is immense, and the consequences of these decisions can be felt for generations to come. The pursuit of a positive legacy is the final silent campaign of every person who holds the office. It's a campaign that continues long after they leave the White House, a constant effort to shape their place in history and ensure that their contributions are remembered for generations to come. It is a testament to the enduring power of the presidency and the lasting impact that these leaders have on the world. The office of the President of the United States is, without question, one of the most powerful positions ever conceived. It stands as a testament to human ambition, a symbol of leadership recognized around the globe. From its inception, the presidency has been imbued with an aura of authority, a weight of responsibility that few can truly comprehend until they occupy the Oval Office. The very notion of a single individual wielding such influence is both awe-inspiring and, for some, deeply unsettling. It is a role that demands not only political acumen but also a profound understanding of history, a keen sense of the present, and a vision for the future. The individual who holds it is the leader of the world's largest economy, a responsibility that extends far beyond the borders of the United States. Their decisions can ripple through global markets, impacting the lives of billions. They navigate complex financial landscapes, striving to maintain stability, promote growth, and ensure prosperity for their nation and, by extension, the world. The weight of this economic stewardship is immense, requiring a delicate balance of fiscal policy, international trade negotiations, and an understanding of the ever-changing dynamics of the global economy. The commander of its most formidable military, a force capable of projecting power and influence across the globe. This role demands strategic thinking, decisive action, and a deep understanding of international relations. The president must make critical decisions regarding military deployments, defense spending, and the use of force, always mindful of the potential consequences for both national security and global stability. The responsibility of safeguarding the nation's interests and protecting its citizens from harm rests squarely on their shoulders, and a figure of immense cultural and political influence. The president's words and actions resonate far beyond the political sphere, shaping public opinion, influencing cultural trends, and setting the tone for national discourse. They are a symbol of American values and ideals, representing the nation on the world stage and engaging with leaders from diverse backgrounds and cultures. This influence extends to both domestic and international affairs, requiring a nuanced understanding of cultural sensitivities and the ability to build consensus and foster cooperation. The presidency has grown in power and scope far beyond what the founders envisioned, a testament to the evolving needs and challenges of a nation that has transformed from a fledgling republic to a global superpower. The framers of the Constitution, wary of centralized authority, carefully crafted a system of checks and balances to prevent any one branch of government from becoming too dominant. Yet over time, the presidency has expanded its reach, assuming greater responsibility in areas such as national security, economic regulation, and social welfare. This evolution has sparked ongoing debates about the proper balance of power between the executive, legislative, and judicial branches, evolving to meet the challenges of an ever more complex and dangerous world. From the Civil War to the Cold War to the War on Terror, the presidency has been tested by crises that demanded decisive leadership and bold action. Each era has brought its own unique set of challenges, requiring presidents to adapt their strategies, expand their powers, and redefine the role of the executive branch. The ability to navigate these turbulent times has been a defining characteristic of successful presidents, shaping their legacies and influencing the course of history. The term imperial presidency was coined in the 20th century, a phrase that captures the growing concern about the concentration of power in the hands of the executive branch. Scholars and commentators have debated the merits and dangers of this trend, raising questions about accountability, transparency, and the potential for abuse of authority. The rise of the imperial presidency has been attributed to various factors, including the increasing complexity of modern governance, the rise of the national security state, and the growing reliance on executive orders and other unilateral actions. To describe this expansion of executive power, a phenomenon that has both empowered presidents to act decisively in times of crisis and raised concerns about the erosion of democratic norms. The use of executive orders, for example, allows presidents to bypass Congress and implement policies directly, but it also raises questions about the separation of powers and the role of the legislative branch. Similarly, the expansion of presidential authority in areas such as surveillance and national security has sparked debates about civil liberties and the balance between security and freedom, a reflection of the enduring American anxiety about the concentration of authority in one person's hands. This anxiety is deeply rooted in the nation's history, dating back to the American Revolution and the colonists' struggle against British tyranny. The framers of the Constitution sought to create a system of government that would prevent the emergence of another monarchy, carefully dividing power among the three branches and establishing a system of checks and balances to ensure that no one branch could become too dominant. This enduring tension between the need for strong leadership and the fear of unchecked power continues to shape the debate about the role of the presidency in American society. This immense power comes with unparalleled prestige. The office of the president is not merely a political position, it is a symbol of national identity, a representation of American values and aspirations. The president is the head of state, the commander-in-chief, and the chief diplomat, all rolled into one. This unique combination of roles confers upon the office an aura of authority and respect that transcends partisan politics. The president is the focus of national and global attention. Every action, every word is scrutinized by the media, analyzed by pundits, and debated by the public. The president's pronouncements can move markets, influence public opinion, and shape the course of international events. This constant spotlight demands a level of discipline, composure, and communication skills that few possess. Their every public utterance is analyzed, and their every decision is debated. Nothing escapes the watchful eyes of the press and the public. From major policy initiatives to minor gaffes, everything is fodder for news cycles and social media commentary. This constant scrutiny can be both a blessing and a curse, providing an opportunity to shape the narrative, but also creating the potential for missteps and misinterpretations. The symbols of the office, the White House, Air Force One, are instantly recognizable around the world, representing the power and prestige of the American presidency. These symbols serve as constant reminders of the weight of responsibility that comes with the office, as well as the historical significance of the role. They are also powerful tools for projecting American influence and promoting the nation's interests on the global stage. The presidential seal, a symbol of authority and legitimacy, is emblazoned on official documents, displayed at public events, and used to represent the president in all official capacities. The seal's design, featuring an eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch, reflects the nation's commitment to both strength and peace. It is a visual reminder of the president's role as both commander-in-chief and chief diplomat, are recognized worldwide as emblems of American strength and leadership. They evoke images of power, influence, and the enduring legacy of the United States on the world stage. These symbols are carefully cultivated and strategically deployed to project an image of confidence and resolve, both at home and abroad. They serve as a constant reminder of the nation's global responsibilities and its commitment to upholding its values and interests. To hold the office is to occupy the very center of the historical stage, to become a part of the ongoing narrative of the American experiment. Presidents are not merely political figures, they are historical actors whose decisions and actions will be studied and debated for generations to come. They are judged not only by their contemporaries, but also by future generations who will assess their legacies in the light of history. To have the opportunity to shape events and leave an indelible mark on the world. From Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation to Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal to Ronald Reagan's challenge to the Soviet Union, presidents have used their power to shape the course of history and leave a lasting impact on the lives of millions. The opportunity to make such a difference is a powerful draw for those who seek the presidency. For many, it is the ultimate prize, the pinnacle of political ambition, the culmination of years of hard work, sacrifice, and dedication. The pursuit of the presidency is a grueling and demanding process, requiring candidates to endure countless hours of campaigning, fundraising, and debating. But for those who reach the summit, the rewards are immense. The opportunity to lead the nation, shape its destiny, and leave a lasting legacy. A chance to steer the ship of state and guide the nation toward a better future. The president sets the national agenda, proposes legislation, and works to build consensus around their vision for the country. They are responsible for addressing the nation's challenges, promoting its interests, and ensuring its security. This is a daunting task, but it is also an opportunity to make a real difference in the lives of ordinary Americans. The prestige of the office is a powerful magnet, drawing ambitious individuals into its orbit. The allure of power, the opportunity to shape history, and the chance to serve the nation are all compelling motivators for those who seek the presidency. But the pursuit of the office is not for the faint of heart. It requires a thick skin, unwavering determination, and a willingness to endure intense scrutiny and criticism. But this power and prestige come at an extraordinary personal price. The weight of the world rests on the shoulders of the president, demanding sacrifices that few can truly comprehend. The constant pressure, the relentless scrutiny, and the burden of making life and death decisions take a toll on even the most resilient individuals. The presidency is a relentlessly demanding job that ages those who hold it. The physical and emotional toll of the office is evident in the faces of former presidents, who often appear years older after their time in the White House. The long hours, the constant travel, and the never-ending stream of crises take a toll on their health and well-being. The constant pressure, the lack of privacy, is a constant companion. The president is always surrounded by security, always under the watchful eyes of the media, and always subject to the demands of their office. There is little time for personal pursuits, family life, or even simple relaxation. The presidency is a 24/7 job that leaves little room for anything else. And the weight of making life and death decisions take a visible physical and emotional toll. The president is often called upon to make decisions that have profound consequences for the nation and the world. These decisions can involve matters of war and peace, economic stability, and public health. The weight of these responsibilities can be overwhelming, leading to stress, anxiety, and even burnout. Presidents and their families live under a microscope, their every move scrutinized, their every word analyzed. The intense media attention can be particularly difficult for their children, who are often thrust into the public eye at a young age. The lack of privacy and the constant pressure can strain family relationships and make it difficult to maintain a normal life. Their lives subject to intense public scrutiny and often harsh criticism. The president is a lightning rod for criticism, blamed for everything from economic downturns to natural disasters. Political opponents, the media and the public all have their own opinions about how the president should be leading the country, and they are not shy about expressing them. This constant barrage of criticism can be demoralizing and isolating. The job requires sacrificing a normal life for a period of immense isolating responsibility. The president often feels alone, even when surrounded by advisors and staff. The weight of the office can be isolating, making it difficult to connect with others on a personal level. The sacrifices required to serve as president can be significant, impacting their health, their relationships, and their overall well-being. They are the target of constant political attacks, facing opposition from rival parties, interest groups, and even members of their own administration. The political landscape is often fraught with conflict and division, making it difficult to build consensus and achieve legislative goals. The president must navigate these treacherous waters with skill and diplomacy, always mindful of the potential for political backlash, and must bear the burden of blame for the nation's problems, whether they are responsible for them or not. The president is often held accountable for events beyond their control, such as economic recessions, natural disasters, and international crises. This can be frustrating and unfair, but it is part of the job. The president must be able to weather these storms and provide leadership in times of adversity. The price of power is a life of ceaseless work, stress, and sacrifice. The presidency demands a level of commitment and dedication that few can sustain. It is a job that requires putting the nation's interest above one's own, even at great personal cost. The rewards can be immense, but so are the sacrifices. And so, the enduring question of the presidency remains: how do we reconcile the need for strong leadership with the principles of democracy and individual liberty? How do we ensure that the person who holds this immense power is both capable and worthy of the trust placed in them? These are questions that have been debated since the founding of the nation, and they continue to be relevant today. How does a democracy grant one person so much power without sacrificing its own principles? The American system of government is designed to prevent the concentration of power in any one individual or branch. The Constitution establishes a system of checks and balances, dividing power among the executive, legislative, and judicial branches. This system is intended to ensure that no one branch becomes too dominant and that the rights of individuals are protected. How can we ensure that the person who wields this power is worthy of the trust placed in them? The selection of a president is a crucial process that involves the participation of citizens, political parties, and the media. Voters must carefully consider the candidate's qualifications, experience, and character before casting their ballots. The media plays a vital role in informing the public about the candidates and their positions on important issues. And political parties are responsible for nominating candidates who are qualified and committed to serving the nation's interests. The history of the presidency is a continuous dialogue about these questions. Each president has grappled with the challenges of balancing power and responsibility, of leading the nation while upholding its democratic principles. Their successes and failures offer valuable lessons for future leaders and for all citizens who care about the future of American democracy. It is a story of great leaders and flawed individuals, of presidents who rose to the occasion and those who fell short of expectations. Some presidents are remembered for their courage, vision and leadership, while others are remembered for their mistakes, scandals and failures. The study of presidential history provides valuable insights into the qualities that make a successful leader and the pitfalls that can lead to failure. Of noble ideals and bitter political battles, of moments of national unity and periods of deep division. The presidency is often at the center of these conflicts, as presidents attempt to navigate the competing interests and values of a diverse nation. The ability to bridge divides, build consensus, and unite the country behind a common purpose is a hallmark of great leadership, of triumphs that inspire and controversies that caution. The history of the presidency is filled with examples of both extraordinary achievements and profound failures. These stories serve as both a source of inspiration and a warning about the potential for abuse of power. By studying these examples, we can learn valuable lessons about leadership, governance, and the importance of upholding democratic principles. The office is a mirror held up to the American nation itself, reflecting its strengths and weaknesses, its hopes and fears, its triumphs and failures. The presidency is a reflection of the American people, their values and their aspirations. It is a reminder that the fate of the nation rests in the hands of its citizens, who have the power to choose their leaders and shape their destiny, reflecting its highest aspirations and its deepest divisions. The presidency is a symbol of both the best and the worst of American society. It represents the nation's commitment to democracy, freedom and equality, but it also reflects its history of slavery, discrimination and inequality. The challenge for each president is to live up to the nation's highest ideals while addressing its deepest divisions. It is a testament to an ongoing experiment in self-government, a system that is constantly evolving and adapting to meet the challenges of a changing world. The American experiment in self-government is not perfect, but it is a remarkable achievement. It is a system that has allowed the nation to overcome countless challenges and to become a beacon of hope for people around the world, an office that continues to define the nation's character and its destiny. The presidency is more than just a political position. It is an institution that shapes the nation's identity and its future. The decisions made by presidents have a lasting impact on the lives of Americans and on the course of world history. The presidency is a legacy that will endure for generations to come.